What's up guys, David Land here. You may have noticed on this channel I've been doing a lot of Project Cars 2 recently, especially at the Daytona International Speedway. But I figured I'd use this opportunity, since I've done so many Daytona videos, to, I guess, also revisit something I've already taken a look at once in Project Cars 2, but didn't feel I did the most fair job of kind of looking at it, considering I wasn't aware of how limited the Xbox One console was physics-wise. So we're going to take a look today at NASCAR racing at Daytona. Now, of course, there is the up-to-date Ford Fusion, which is still racing in NASCAR in 2018 in this game. So that makes it possibly a realistic, or there's a possibility there to have a realistic NASCAR experience. Now, for today's video, because of the physics bugs and limitations of the Xbox One, we'll be running this time with 15 AI. And I think that may actually help the plate racing, the way everything kind of races together, rather than having everything spread out, and in terms of my driving, having the wheel clipping in the middle of the corners and bouncing all over the place and making me unable to actually steer the car through the corners. I'm kind of interested to see how it all works out, and whether or not Project Cars 2 can actually give you a fairly authentic NASCAR experience. So, let's head to the grid at Daytona and see what we can do in a 15-minute race. And of course the catch, or I shouldn't say of course, but the catch is going to be that there's going to be a mandatory pit stop. How's that going to work out? Let's find out. So we're ready to go. NASCAR racing at Daytona here in Project Cars 2. And of course the mandatory pit stop is going to throw interesting strategy into the mix to this one. Ooh, as we almost get run into the 19 car, so I guess we'll go here. Green at Daytona. I got up into the wall just a little bit because I thought I had some room up top in the Larson line, but we won't. So we'll head in behind the 24 car here. It's Jeff Gordon. It's William Byron. Oh wait, no, it's not. And we'll get in behind the 27 to the inside of the 27. I guess that's Paul Menard, but it's not going to work. We'll give him a draft down the back straightaway, so I couldn't really pull out a line there very well. 24 to the outside. Running the low line here in Daytona. Very bumpy in 3 and 4, so this is kind of the old surface of Daytona as we go 3 wide to the inside. Careful not to go under that yellow line. That's a penalty. That's out of bounds. Trying to get up behind the 41 here. I guess you could call that Casey Mears. I can't remember the last time somebody ran a 41 in NASCAR. We have a very British crew chief, which makes this fairly interesting as we look behind us. The 41 car is trying to get a draft down the back straightaway. We're going to try to get up in behind the green car here. Not sure what number that is. Kind of looks like Carl Long. You can see out from behind us a knockoff Ray Bestis logo into turn 3. So when are the pit stops going to start happening for the AI? I wonder. Going to be interesting. And here we go. Pit stops already starting to occur from the front of the field. So a couple cars in. We're going to do a 4-tire change when we come in, just because I kind of want to see what the pit stop animation is like for a stock car in this game. We're working turn 1, trying to catch up to that green car just ahead of us. Let's take a look at the speed real quick. We're going 193. So 193 in the draft, that's realistic speed. Or I guess we're not really in the draft because we're kind of away from the rest of the field. They kind of move a little bit high in the groove there. Car's just ahead as we're bouncing all over the place on the banking there. Nobody coming off into the pits this time. I do wonder if those cars that were in the pits are going to come out near us. There's the pit exit. You can see marked with cones, which is kind of interesting. Yeah, I think those guys who came out of the pits are going to be out in front of us. So they're potentially going to slow the field down, slow the pack down, which could make it for an interesting battle here through the traffic. I think they're 3 wide out in front of me down the back straightaway. So we'll see how lap traffic affects this, and it's certainly affecting it because it's causing some 2 wide action. Some slow down here in the pack. We'll work to the outside of Kyle Busch. It's Kyle Busch. And we'll pass Cal. Cal's going to go into the pits. So So that'll launch us into the pack. That lap traffic's all we needed to really get going here. To the inside of Kyle Larson. And we'll go underneath Larson into turn 1 once again. Move up in front of him, use his line against him as he's going to try to work back underneath me to the inside. Not going to quite get there. Go down the back straightaway here. Try to get that draft going here. Try to get that 2-car tandem. Into turn 1 once again. Try to get it down low, or just try to keep in the draft of those cars in front of me. Car bouncing on the banking. What's our fuel number look like? Oh, we're really good. In fact, I should go to this car management thing. Oh, we don't have any traction control. We're going to look at the race strategy. We're going to adjust the strategies. We almost got LePage, and there's a crash. I got up into the wall because I was avoiding the crash. We're going to adjust the strategy. We're just going to put a tiny bit of fuel in this thing, because we really don't need hardly any fuel. We're just going to put 1 liter of fuel in the cart, just so, as we got the 48 car trying to wreck us as we go underneath a car that looks an awfully lot like the old Country Time car. We made it underneath him. Now we're coming up behind Kyle Busch. And going around Kyle Busch. So he came out of the pits, obviously. But, yeah, we're on lap 7, so we're almost halfway through the race. If the AI are going to pit, they're going to come in now. Oh, we're actually leading this thing. We're leading this race. We're sitting here at halfway through the race, and we're leading it. So I've got to wonder, do I come in and take tires now, or do we come out and wait just a little bit? I think we'll come out around one more time, come into the pits and finish this race. 15 laps, fairly short race here. But it's just kind of to figure out if this oval racing in Project Cars, at least for the NASCAR side, I know the IndyCar side is still bugged. If we can get this oval racing to work, as you hear, 3-second lead on the rest of the field at the moment. I guess you could kind of think of this as an ARCA race at Daytona, just because it's all the cars are kind of slightly older Ford Fusions. So that makes sense, I guess. So we're going to request a pit stop here on the backstretch. So the crew will be ready for us when we come in. And downshifting and getting down to the 37-mile-per-hour speed limit is going to be a bit difficult, so I'm going to bring up the menu to look at that. You probably can't see that because I guess I've got the replay up, hopefully. So off of turn 4, on the brakes, hard on the brakes. Down a couple of gears, get it down to 37 miles per hour, and we're down to the speed limit. So our pit is way at the end, and we're going to find out what this pit stop looks like when we come in and hopefully not stall it. So here we come, coming down for the NASCAR pit stop. Clutch in, and here we go. This is a NASCAR pit stop, everybody. Well, we've only got 2 people on each side working on the tires. Are we just doing fronts? No, they're going to the rears as well. That's kind of a weird way to do it. Guys on both sides of the car. I mean, it's the same way. I guess it's the same, takes the same amount of time, but very strange. All right. Well, that's what a NASCAR pit stop looks like in Project Cars. We are in 11th place, so clearly taking a pit stop was a bad idea. Up through the gears, let's just hope we can find some traffic to run in. Back marker? We're in 13th place and we're still lapping people? That's very strange. Well, back up into 4th gear we go, and now we've got 6 laps to go. Yeah, we're 20 seconds ahead of that car. We're 58 seconds behind the leader. It's possible they didn't pit or they just didn't take tires. But I wanted to see what the pit stops look like in this game. So now I guess we'll just drive around, try to find a good line to run in. So we don't lose too much speed in the corners. But right now it's not working out particularly well for us. go through the tri-oval. And we're coming out next to a car, so is that in position? Yes, it is. We're up to 12th. So a few more, or one more position. I guess we can kind of hope and pray that more of them crash, or more of them spin out, or more of them get slowed up by lap traffic. And then we can capitalize, because we're definitely catching the group of cars ahead of us, it looks like. So we can potentially get a few more positions here before the end of the race. We'll just have to wait and see how it all turns out. So we work through the banking, thing bouncing up and down. Coming to lap, 5 laps to go it should be. And we're in 12th again? Yeah, no, we're still in 12th. Never mind, excuse me. So that's a lap car. Looking at the map, that's a lap car and 2 lead lap cars that are just ahead. Don't know if we're actually going to catch them as we don't have a draft. You can see how much time we've lost without the draft. We come down the back straightaway. We're 4 seconds behind. We are gaining. We're not particularly gaining as fast as I would like to gain. That is for sure. So work through the tri-oval. There's another car in the pit. There's still cars in the pits. So it's potentially, yeah, we gained 1 position there, up to 11th. Seems like a lot of pit stops happening for a 15-lap race. I guess Goodyear's having trouble or something. Car's very nice to drive though. The force feedback is nice and heavy. Everything's kind of the way it should be. So we are catching those guys ahead of us. Slightly. Ever so slightly. We'll just see where we end up in the final running order before the end of this one. The problem with Daytona is, like, if you know, there's not a lot to talk about handling wise, because, like, okay, yeah, I'm going around the banking, it's okay, we got it. You know, it's not like the car is sliding all over the place. The real key to this track, of course, is setup and keeping the draft, which we don't have right now, as I almost go into the wall because I'm not steering nearly enough. And in fact, the 12th place car is actually coming up behind me. You can see on the mini map there. So we're not out of the woods yet. But I'd love to catch the draft of these cars ahead of us. I don't know if we'll be able to do it in 2 laps. It's going to be close. It's going to be close. If we catch that draft, that 3-car draft ahead of us, we'll be in really good shape. But I just don't know if we'll catch them. You can just see them. It's like them being in the crosshairs. Where we're going to be coming up to 2 laps to go here. Lap number 14 and lap number 15. We get that top 10 finish, though. Actually, I just realized 15 AI cars and 15 laps. Theoretically, there's enough laps to pass all the cars. I did that for myself, I guess. But we've got a car coming from behind who's coming up very fast. Very, very fast. Where'd you find your turbocharger, dude? Well, now it's going to be a battle between myself and this car that looks an awful lot like the Duralast car that Joey Logano once had. But we are going to get in the draft of the lap car here, coming to the white flag, so we're going to see the effectiveness of the draft. Look at the effectiveness of the draft as we work around the outside of Kyle Larson. He was not nice about it. Ooh, baby, that was close. We won't be nice to him coming back around. Coming to behind the 70 car, and underneath him is that Kyle Busch? It's Kyle Busch, and we're gonna go around him on the back straightaway, making our moves. A very nice run up to 9th place as the pack forms up behind us. We're 31 seconds behind the leader because we decided to take tires, but it doesn't matter. Off of turn 4, through the tri-oval we go, and we will cross the line and take the checkered flag here at Daytona. That was much better than it was last time. So, final order. Ralph That's the first and probably last time a guy named Ralph will win a NASCAR race. We finished 9th. Go down through the rest of the field, see where everybody finished, if you recognize any of these names, which I certainly don't. So, that was NASCAR Racing in Project Cars 2 on the ovals. Hopefully this was a little bit better of a showcase of how this game can actually kind of produce decent oval racing. I don't know if it was, again, necessarily realistic to the plate racing that we see. I'm not sure if that's an AI issue or a physics issue. It could possibly be a physics issue. I don't know. But definitely the spotter, the sounds, all that stuff is pretty good. But again, I definitely say it's fun. Is it realistic? Probably not. So thank you guys so much for watching. This has been David Land on YouTube, and we'll see you in the next video.